Hare Krishna. So we'll start off as usual with a small prayer. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam bangun langayate grimit kripatmaham Vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramahanandamadavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. So, welcome you all to the session today. Yesterday we had a look at the chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita. So, today we will continue with the 16th chapter. Next week we should be able to wrap it up, the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So, let me share my screen. Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So I'll just give a short recap of yesterday's session. Chapter 15. It is called Purushottama Yoga. The yoga of the Supreme Person. So in the first section, we saw that this material world is compared to the reflection which we find on the river. Right? So we think that the reflection is the reality, which means whatever life we are leading in this material world, the family that we are living with, the property that belongs to us. So all these are real. But we can also understand this or realize this practically as well. So we may be a millionaire or billionaire, but when the person passes away, then he's not going to take away anything along with him. Right? So this material world is actually a perverted reflection. Reality is in the spiritual world. The nature of the spirit soul is Satchitananda, to be eternal, Sat, to be always in knowledge, Chit, and Ananda, which means to always be happy. So that is the very nature of this spirit soul. But unfortunately, with the material body in this temporary material world, we cannot remain eternal. We cannot have 100% knowledge, and we also cannot be always happy. But these are all possible in the spiritual world or Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavana. Right? So that is something which is compared to our real home. Actually speaking, we are all in a temporary accommodation. You can call that as a hotel or a lodge. Right? So this is not our real home. So then in the second section, Krishna spoke about the characteristics of spiritual world. Unlike in the material world, which is filled with darkness, it is a world which is filled with tamoguna. We require electricity when it is dark. Only during the daytime, when the sun is out, we get light. Whereas in the spiritual world, it is always illuminated. Where from the illumination comes? This illumination comes from the Supreme Lord Krishna's energy. Right? So Krishna is capable of illuminating the entire spiritual world. And we also saw the last connection between us and Krishna. We are all fragmental part and parcel of Krishna. But unfortunately, we have lost that connection or forgotten that connection. We wanted to independently enjoy away from Krishna. That's why we are all put in this material world. So that is on the second section. The third section, we saw how Krishna is the maintainer. So from him comes our digestive power. We are able to eat vegetables and we get all the food grains. Where does everything come from? Vegetables, they get their nourishment by sun, by moon. So who is the source of moon? Supreme Lord Krishna. All the planets, they float in their respective orbit. How is it possible without the intervention of Supreme Lord Krishna? So in essence, Krishna is the maintainer of each and every living entity. Prabhupada, he often says in his purports that Krishna is able to maintain even a big elephant. If you see the forest elephant, especially the Asian elephant, they call, it requires tons and tons of food. Right? It can eat a big tree. He may find it very difficult to even cut the tree, but elephant can swallow a big tree in no time. If you look into the reality, Krishna is actually supplying food for even such a big living entity like elephant. How come he will not maintain us? All the problems that we find in the material world, people are starving with hunger. They are not getting enough foodstuff in one part of the world. Whereas in the Western country, they have foodstuff in excess. They throw away everything because they have so much of opulences. Why this imbalance? Who created this imbalance? Krishna has nothing to do with this imbalance, by the way. It's all man-made imbalance. If Krishna can maintain such a big animal like elephant, why can't he maintain a small living entity like a human being? We, after all, require only 3 times food. Nowhere in comparison to elephant's food, right? So Krishna is always maintaining us. But only thing is that we are not submissive to him, submissive to his laws. We don't respect the nature's law. That's why we suffer. And finally, in the chapter 15, we also saw the essence. How Krishna is beyond the fallible and infallible. Fallible are those who make mistakes. Pretty much all the living entities in the material world, they come into that category. Infallible are the ones who always live with the Supreme Lord in his abode. I was explaining how unintentional, unmotivated devotion to Krishna actually attracts him the most. I was narrating one pastime where the gopis, they were willing to even suffer, go to hell if they have to cure the disease of Krishna. Of course, this is all pastime. Nobody should question why Krishna is suffering with headache. It's all a lila. He wanted to show to all of us that the gopis are the inhabitants of Vrindavan. They are the topmost devotees. We may be thinking that Krishna is having extramarital affairs with all the gopis. He is enjoying with all the women. No, that is not the case. Krishna was actually reciprocating to the loving devotion of the gopis. In fact, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, came 500 years back and propagated the Hare Krishna movement. He says that the real aspiration of a devotee should be to follow in the footsteps of the gopis of Vrindavan. The gopis of Vrindavan are the topmost example of unmotivated and uninterrupted love for Krishna. So we all should aspire to achieve that position. For that, we need to do practice of sadhana bhakti. We saw in the earlier sessions 9 different processes of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam. So we saw all the 9 processes. By performing devotional service in one or many of those 9 processes, we are actually coming closer to Krishna, right? So these are some of the things from chapter 15. I'll just take a quick pause here. Any question from yesterday's session? Okay, so let's move to the session for today. Today's session is quite interesting and lot of things for us to imbibe, the qualities that we wanted to imbibe, and certain qualities which are not good, we need to throw away if we want to become very dear to Krishna. So what are those qualities that Krishna is talking about? Divine and demonic qualities. Sura and Asura Guna. Sura means the demigod or divine. Asura means demonic. So Krishna is speaking about those qualities. And subsequently in the second section, Krishna speaks about the demonic nature. And finally, Krishna is giving us the choice. You want to become nice devotee of Krishna or you want to develop demonic quality. The choice is up to us. Okay. So let's get into it. Today we will hear a lot of stories or pastimes and many things that we can learn from those pastimes. Because often before coming to Krishna consciousness also, we would have heard a lot of leelas or pastimes about Krishna. But probably we may not have understood the philosophy behind that pastime. So it is very important that we also understand or pick out the key takeaways from each of those pastimes. That is very, very important. That's why in the olden days, we had um, lot of scriptures that talk about various stories and pastimes related to Supreme Lord. Right from Mahabharata to Ramayana to Srimad Bhagavatam. So you will find a lot of stories. These are all not just stories to hear and wail away time. Rather, we need to inculcate some of the best practices so that we can become very nice devotee of Supreme Lord Krishna. So that is the whole point of these pastimes. So let's get into the session for today. Bad or good? So how many of us like to be good always? Is there anyone in the call who likes to be bad? I hope not.
No.
Right? So we all would like to be good and we all would want others to recognize our good qualities, isn't it? When somebody talks about us in a good way, that, oh, this person, so and so, he is so nice to behave with. No, I would like to always take his association. If we can get that recognition from others, especially the devotees of Lord Krishna, then that is our success in this spiritual life. Inculcating these divine qualities is very, very important. So Krishna talks about 26 divine qualities. So today's session might go a little longer also, depending on the time it takes to narrate the pastime and explain the tattva behind those pastimes. So bear with me, but it is going to be very, very useful, the session for today. So Krishna is talking about 26 divine qualities and 6 demonic qualities. So here in this slide, I have put across all the 26 divine qualities. This is what Krishna is talking about. Forgiveness, charity, self-control, simplicity, non-violence, renunciation, tranquility, fortitude, cleanliness, steady determination, study of Vedas, austerity, gentleness, modesty, so on. There is a big list. One may be wondering, Prabhu, how can I develop all these 26 qualities? So, if you associate with devotees, the easiest way to develop these qualities is to associate with devotees who possess these qualities. Isn't it so simple? Right? So, just like how in the earlier session also I was mentioning, I think it was in the three modes session, 14th chapter, I was mentioning that how we develop those modes, especially the Rajoguna or Tamoguna, what makes us develop those modes? Anybody who knows the prominent reason?
Association and knowledge.
Yes, association. When we start associating with people who are in the lower modes, we also develop such modes, right? Similarly, on a positive note, if we want to develop these 26 qualities, divine qualities, simplest thing is to associate with devotees. Devotees of Lord Krishna, they don't just talk. Many times we find people give a lot of lecture, but in their own practices, they may not be following whatever they are speaking, isn't it? So a devotee or an acharya is someone who speaks what he practices. Achar means what? Achar means practicing. Someone who is practicing all good things or divine things which Krishna likes. Such a person is called an acharya. Right. So a Vaishnava or an acharya or a devotee, whatever term you may use, such a person possesses all these qualities. So I will just speak about, I just pick some of these qualities. I may not go into all the qualities. We may not have time. I will speak about one personality for each of those qualities. And you will understand from that past time quite nicely. Okay. Let me pick the, okay, what could be the first quality I want to pick? Okay, simplicity. I will start off with simplicity. So, what do you think that simplicity means? Especially in practicing spirituality. What do you think is simplicity? Anybody can answer. So, this is one of the important quality that a devotee possesses. Okay, so let me only explain about this. See, often we think that anybody can practice spirituality. We don't need any guidance. We don't require any guru. So that's the thought process. You learn from your father, mother, or from your neighbors. You start reciting certain slokas. You attend some satsanga. We think that that is spirituality. But actually, spirituality means following the instruction of a bona fide guru, spiritual master, right? Or a proper Vaishnava. If you can follow his instruction as it is, without complicating or without any duplicity, that is simplicity. If you have any clarifications or if you think that the instruction cannot be followed, then you straightforwardly tell that person, oh Prabhu, you were talking about this, but I am not practically able to follow. Like for example, one may have to follow the 4 rules and regulations. no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit connection, and no, what is the other thing? No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit, no gambling, right? So these are the four prohibitions mentioned in the scriptures. Initially, we may not be able to follow certain things. Like, for example, some of you may be eating non-vegetarian food, right? But we need to attain that standard eventually. But it doesn't mean that initially itself you may have to give up everything. No, that may not be practically possible due to various family situations as well. But you straightforwardly tell your mentor or your spiritual authority that I'm having so and so problem. I'm not able to follow certain practices. Please guide me. That is simplicity. And on the other hand, if you are duplicitous, then you will practice certain thing, but you speak something else just to please the other person. That is not simplicity, right? One pastime I will tell. There was a devotee 500 years back during Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time. His name was Mukundananda. He had a son by name Raghunandan, small boy, 5-year-old boy. So his father had a beautiful Vigraha, deity of Shri Gopal, Gopalji, small deity of Krishna. He was worshipping that Gopal deity for many years. Daily, his wife would cook some foodstuff and he would offer to the deity of Gopal. So what happened? One time, the father, he had to go to some other place. So he told his wife and his son, small boy, that please take care of Gopalji. I'm going to this place. Daily offer food to Krishna, to Gopal, and make sure that he eats. Like that he told, and he went to the pilgrimage. So the son took that instruction to his heart. So his mother, she made nice laddus, lots of laddus. She put it in a plate and gave it to her son Raghunandan. Oh Raghunandan, you please go and offer this food to Gopalji and make sure he eats. So this boy nodded his head. He took that plate, placed it in front of Gopalji, the Vigraha of Lord Krishna, and then he was sincerely praying, "Oh Gopal, please come and take this food. My mother has prepared nice laddus. Please come and honor this laddus." And he was waiting for Gopal to come and eat. Have we ever seen when we are doing Naivedyam, Lord comes and eats the foodstuff that we prepare? Have we ever had such experience? I don't think so, right? Because we don't have so much of love and devotion, isn't it? But over here, this boy, he was very, very sincere and he was quite simple. He simply followed his father's instruction, his mother's instruction. He was pleading to Gopal, "Oh Gopal, why can't you come and eat? I will not move away from this place unless you come and eat." And my mother told that you will eat this foodstuff, but you are not eating, which means you don't like the food. I am pleading to you, please come and eat. So like that, he was praying and he was talking to Gopal. And suddenly Gopal, he spoke back. "Oh, little Raghunandan, you are requesting me to eat. Okay, let me come and eat." So like that, he spoke, and the Supreme Lord Gopal, he came and ate all the laddus. And at the end, the plate became completely empty. He took the plate back to his mother. His mother was completely shocked. She didn't know what happened. So she was chastising her little son. "Hey, Raghunandan, what did you do? You ate everything or what?" Then Raghunandan said, "No, ma. you asked me to offer to our Gopal, so I offered this to Gopal, and Gopal came and ate. Just a minute, sorry. Sorry. Um, yeah. So, so Gopal explained like, I mean, Raghunandan explained like that, but his mother, she did not believe, and she waited for her husband to come back after a few days, and then she explained everything to her husband. Husband said, "No, okay, let me go and see what's happening. Today you prepare laddu and give it to our son. Let our son go and offer it to Gopal. I will hide behind the building and see what is happening." So his father was hiding behind, and to his amazement, he saw that when his son was lovingly offering that laddu, those laddus to Supreme Lord Gopal, Gopal came and ate. His father was completely mesmerized, and immediately he ran. And when he ran inside, Gopal was about to eat. He ate it half, and Raghunandan's father, he held his hand, Gopal's hand. Right? Even today, if you go to that temple, I have not seen the temple, but devotees, they say it is somewhere in West Bengal. I think it's in a place called Srikanda, I believe. So there you can find this Gopal deity, and to that Gopal, they will offer laddu in half. So they don't offer full laddus. They offer half portion of laddus. Hmm. This is to remember such a nice little devotee, Raghunandan, whose simplicity was actually attracting the Supreme Lord. Right? He was simply following his father's instruction. How many of us have that belief? That strong belief that Krishna comes and eats prasadam, eats our bhoga. So we need to have that belief, right? I can see Padma Mataji is raising her hand.
We all feel he is, but we can't see, that's all.
Exactly. But because the Lord can eat through his eyes, I was
Yeah,
explaining.
he accepts. He accepts her.
Yeah. So Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This is what the scriptures say. Anganiyasya Anganiyasya yeah. So basically all the angas. So for us, we can only eat by our hand. But Supreme Lord can eat through his eyes. To Raghunandan, he reciprocated by personally coming and eating everything. To us, he may eat with his eyes. So we need to have that firm belief. And moreover, the elaboration from this pastime is that we need to develop this attitude of being simple, especially to the guiding devotees, the Vaishnavas. Right? If you are simple, then you will get instructions and you will advance nicely in Krishna consciousness. Right? So this is about simplicity. And one more aspect that I want to touch upon is fearlessness, last in the list. Right? A devotee is completely fearless. Why is a devotee fearless?
Because he knows the Lord is there to protect him.
So Krishna is there to protect him. There is a saying in Bengali, Krishna rakhe mare khe, and Krishna mare rakhe khe. Which means when Krishna decided to protect someone, who can kill that person? On the other hand, when Krishna decides to kill a person, who can protect him? It's very true, isn't it? Even in the Krishna's pastimes, we can find various instances where when Krishna decided that such and such person should be killed because of his demonic nature, nobody could come and protect him. Whereas on the other hand, how much ever a person may try to kill another person, if Krishna decides to protect, he cannot kill. Any examples that you can think of? Krishna decided to kill, so nobody could protect.
Kans, Putna,
Killed so,
all those.
so many demons he killed.
Yeah,
whom
so
nobody
many
could
demons.
protect. Kamsa he killed.
Yeah, so Kamsa had so much of protection, right? So he had so many army, such a big elephant, Kuvalayapida, and he had wrestlers, Mushtika Chanura, so many people to guard. But still, Krishna broke all the fences, all the obstruction, and he came and killed Kamsa. On the other hand, when Krishna decided to protect, nobody can kill. Typical example is Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj, when he was in the womb of his mother Uttara, Ashwatthama, he actually sent Brahmastra. So what did Krishna do? He went inside the womb of Uttara and protected the womb. Ashwatthama's Brahmastra could not do anything. Brahmastra, by the way, is something which we cannot perceive in material world. It is like million times more powerful than the atomic bomb, you can say. But Krishna was able to protect, right? So a devotee always takes shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, because of which he is completely protected. One real life example is that of our ISKCON's founder Acharya, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. His name itself gives you an idea that how fearless he was. His full name is Abhaya Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Abhaya Charan. Abhay means someone who is fearless. So Prabhupada, as his name sounds, he was completely fearless. How can I say that he was fearless? Because when he was 70 years old, he traveled all the way from India to America. The two in a cargo ship. Many of us in this call may not want to travel even in flight, because going to America, it takes around 25 hours or even 36 hours in some cases, right? Any of you have experience of traveling to US?
No.
Yes, Prabhuji, about 16 hours it takes.
16 hours. 16 hours is too less.
Not 16, I went from Dubai.
Okay. Dubai, it takes less. So it is so painful, right, to travel in even an airplane. Just think of traveling in a cargo ship, not even a passenger ship. Cargo ship, which is used to carry all the goods from India to US. So Prabhupada traveled in that. I think he traveled close to 30 plus days. Seasickness, rough terrain, you cannot eat anything. People vomit when they travel in ship. It is not like traveling on land. Traveling in ocean is completely a different ball game. But Prabhupada, at the age of 70, in spite of having 2 heart attacks during the journey, when he was traveling in the cargo ship, he had 2 heart attacks. But still, he was completely taking shelter of Krishna. In fact, during the journey in the ship, he was writing a poem that is very famous around the ISKCON circle. Even now, many devotees, they sing that prayer. Krishna Tava Punya Kabe Hai. So that is the beginning of that poem. So basically what it says is, Prabhupada is praying to Krishna, "Oh Krishna, I don't know why you have brought me to America. Because I don't think I can speak their English and convince them. But still, if you want me to be like a puppet in your hand, you please make me as a puppet. So you make me dance and I will dance." So essentially, Krishna is saying that I am your instrument, O Krishna. So by your mercy and by my Guru's mercy, I will be able to convince those Englishmen, those Americans. So eventually, as it turned out, he went to the America with 40 rupees. He did not know anywhere to go. He had no place to stay. Just imagine, at 70 years old, having no place to stay in America and only having 40 rupees. 40 rupees in those days was nothing. Can any one of us imagine taking that risk? That fearlessness quality, can any one of us demonstrate that at that age? Quite impossible, isn't it? That is why we glorify Srila Prabhupada in every part of the world. Anywhere you go across the world, you will find Prabhupada's movement quite nicely established. His books are so famous. We are still reading Bhagavad Gita from his edition, right? So because he was fearless, that is one of the quality of a pure devotee. We also can develop that quality. If not to the extent of Prabhupada, but at least minute extent we can try to develop. So what happens is, we become fearless when we have money, when we have bank balance, when we have someone to take care, when we have a nice family. We become fearless to some extent, not completely. But the problem is, all these things that we are depending upon, they are temporary. Our bank balance can become nil in no time. Our family can vanish in no time, right? We are foolishly depending upon things which are non-permanent. And we are forgetting the fact that Krishna is the source of everything. So we become completely fearless when we take shelter of Krishna all the time. Right? So that is one quality which is prominent in a devotee. So like that, there are many qualities. If I go on speak about them, I think today's session will just extend like anything. So I will take a pause here. You can go through this when I share the slide. In case if any of you have any clarifications, you can always get back. So I will move on. There are a lot more slides to explain. So Krishna says that to Arjuna, the transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities. So, when Krishna started speaking about divine and demonic also, Arjuna started getting a doubt. Why is Krishna talking about demonic quality? Am I a demon? So then Krishna clarifies by saying, don't worry, Arjuna, for you are born with divine qualities only. These are demonic qualities which I am explaining for people to understand. You are not a demon, you are a devotee. Right? So like that, Arjuna was pacified by Krishna in this verse. So further, Krishna speaks about the demonic quality. I am going to explain the difference between demonic and divine quality through a case study. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. How many of you know about these two characters, Diti and Aditi? Who are they?
Sisters.
Sisters. Any further notes about them?
One is spiritual, godly. other one is not.
Right. Who is godly and who is not?
The Aditi is godly.
So Aditi and Diti, they are sisters. They look quite similar. They are born to the same father, mother. They are twins, you can say. But Aditi was divine and Diti was demonic. For your information, Aditi is the mother of all the devatas, demigods, starting from Indra, Chandra. So all these are born from Aditi. Whereas Diti is the mother of all demons. The famous demons that Diti,
Hiranyakashipu,
Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha. They are
Yeah.
both
both brothers.
the brothers. They are the sons of Diti. So from their stories or pastimes, we can clearly understand the difference between divine and demonic quality. I'm going to explain. It is going to take some time. A lot of pastimes involved here. Okay. So who was the husband of Diti and Aditi? They both got married to a same person. Who was the husband?
Kashyapa.
Kashyap.
Kashyapa. Kashyapa Muni.
Kashyapa.
Yeah. Kashyapa Muni was the husband of both Diti and Aditi. Aditi was patient and dutiful, whereas Diti was impatient and envious. We will understand this as I talk about these pastimes. So, just to give a context, Diti, so this verse is talking about Diti. So Diti, all of a sudden, when her husband Kashyapa Muni, he was actually performing tapasya, doing austerities. So what did she do? She suddenly went and disturbed her husband, Kashyapa Muni, and she started speaking this verse. One of you can read the translation, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Mary.
Yeah.
Therefore, you should be kind towards me by showing me complete mercy. I desire to have sons, and I am much distressed by seeing the opulence of my co-wives. By performing this act, you will become happy. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So what is she desiring for? She is desiring for an union with Kashyapa Muni because she wanted a son. Right? And Kashyapa Muni tried to persuade her, his wife, saying that, I understand that you want to beget son, which is very good. I am willing to honor your requests, but this is not the right time. Because this was the time when Lord Shiva would travel along with his wife Parvati Devi. It was during the twilight time when the sun was about to set. That is not an auspicious time for an union between man and woman. So Kashyapa Muni, he tried to explain this to Diti, but because Diti was too much engulfed in sense gratification, she wanted to somehow or other beget a child, and she was envious about her own sister Aditi, who had divine sons. So she wanted to have union with Kashyapa Muni. Right? And all the more, she was very impatient. How can we say she was impatient?
Because she was not listening to him. She wanted her way.
Yeah. And all the more, when her husband was performing tapasya, she went and disturbed him.
Yes.
Is that a right behavior?
No.
Right? So she was impatient, she was envious. So these are Diti's characteristics. You can map it. She was selfish. Right? She did not bother about her husband's endeavor. He was performing tapasya. She did not consider that. She wanted to enjoy senses, her senses. She was impatient. She was lusty. She was envious towards her own sister. And she was giving philosophy for personal profit. When Kashyapa Muni replied that this is not the time for union, then she started giving all kind of philosophy, saying that when somebody who is dependent on you comes and pleads, is this the way that you respond? So like that, she gave a lot of philosophical explanations, trying to justify herself. And she had no regard for dharma, right? These are Diti's characteristics. So, in the contrast, we will look into Aditi's characteristics. Can any other devotee read this translation?
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
After many, many days, the great powerful sage Kasyapa Muni arose from trance of meditation and returned home to see the ashrama of Aditi, neither jubilant nor festive.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
So, in the verse, you can see Nirutsavam Niranandam, which means there is no jubilation, no festivity. Because a wife is supposed to welcome her husband with a bright face, in a pleasing way. In this case, Aditi was completely in sorrow. The reason was that before this incident, Bali Maharaj, whom we all know, he is the king of all the demons, right? So he went and attacked Indra in Indraloka. He wanted to capture Indraloka, and Indra was kicked out of his own kingdom. Indra, being the son of Aditi, Aditi felt so bad that her own sons were being tortured by the demons. So that was the background behind Aditi being disappointed. So she wanted to also have a son who would be able to protect Indra. Right? So who would be able to protect all the devatas. So that was the intention of Aditi's prayers. So here, what is it that we understand? She did not go and disturb Kashyapa Muni when he was performing austerity. Rather, she patiently waited in the ashram. Right? And she was dutifully serving her husband nicely. And she did not argue with her husband. Rather, she only mentioned that this is the situation. You please guide me what I am supposed to be doing. I wanted to have a son who will protect all the people, all the devatas. If you desire so, you please bless me with a son. In contrast, Aditi, what was the intention of her prayer? She wanted, okay, so there are two contexts here. Diti, in the initial context, she wanted to have union with her husband to beget Hiranyakasipu, Hiranyaksha. Later, Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha were killed by Vishnu. And subsequently, she again went to her husband and she was praying for a son once more, so that that son could kill Indra. Because Diti thought that Indra only incited Lord Vishnu to kill Hiranyakasipu and Hiranyaksha. So she wanted to take revenge. She wanted to beget a child who would kill Indra. Who was Indra?
Aditi's son.
Demigod.
Right.
He's a
Her
demigod.
own sister's son, isn't it? Her own nephew. Will anyone kill her own nephew? Right. So she went to that extent. For that, she was actually pleading to her husband. In contrast, Aditi, she was patiently serving her husband and she asked for protection to her own sons, the devatas. For that, she wanted to beget a child. So Aditi's characters are selfless. She was a dutiful wife. She was patient. She was composed. She was free from envy. It is not like, unlike Diti's case, Aditi did not want to take revenge on the demons. Bali Maharaj, and various demons. Rather, she was only asking for protection to her own children. That's all. Right? So she was following Dharma. These are the characteristics of Aditi. So, lesson that we can learn is when we squeeze a mango, we are going to get a nice mango juice. On the other hand, when we squeeze a lemon, it is going to give only lemon juice, which is not sweet. Right? You cannot compare lemon and mango. Similarly, we may have an outward appearance of I am a super devotee, wearing a nice tilaka, in a Vaishnava attire, maybe very pleasing or calm outwardly, but inwardly, if we have demonic qualities, and when we are put in a situation, automatically all our demonic qualities are going to come out, which was evident in the case of Aditi and Diti. Right? So one's greatness has to be estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. This is what Srila Prabhupada says. Right? So our greatness is not in retaliating. Often in material world, if you observe, when we can show our anger on somebody else, we are actually praised for that quality. Say, for example, I go on a road and somebody comes and hits my vehicle, and if I argue with that person, and if I go and hit him, if I go and terrorize him, then people praise me. Oh, he's such a brave person. Even though he was hit by such a rude guy, he still went and fought with him, and he was able to conquer him. So this is actually praised as a good quality. On the other hand, we see from Krishna's instructions that a devotee is supposed to be tolerant to provoking situations. Aditi was actually exhibiting all these qualities wonderfully. Right? So we will proceed further. Let's see what Aditi's request was. Can one of you read this? The translation.
O best of the sages, best of all those who grant auspicious benedictions, please consider our situation and bestow upon my sons the benedictions by which they can regain what they have lost. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So what is the quality that we can see from here?
Tolerance.
Amen.
Tolerance.
Tolerance. Right? So she did not want to take revenge. She wanted her sons to be protected. That is fine. But she was not having a revengeful mentality against the demons. Right? So that is evidently coming out from this verse. In the contrast, you find Diti's plea. Can another devotee read this?
Diti replied, translation, Diti replied, O my husband, O great soul, I have now lost my sons. If you want to give me a benediction, I ask you for an immortal son who can kill Indra. I pray for this because Indra, with the help of Vishnu, has killed my two sons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu.
So, what is it that you can see from this verse? The mentality of Diti?
Revenge.
Revenge, right? How many of us have exhibited such qualities? If not to the extent of Diti, but feeling envious, trying to pull others' legs, right? So these are some of the qualities which we also have exhibited, isn't it? Yeah, so Lata Mataji is raising her hand.
Yes, Prabhu, earlier.
Yeah,
Now we have reformed
yes.
gradually.
So, yeah, we want to develop these divine qualities. We don't want demonic qualities in us, isn't it? So over here we can find Diti. She was pleading to to her husband Kashyapa Muni to beget a child who can take revenge on Indra. So, nature of desires of Aditi for protection, she had no grudges, whereas Diti, she wanted Indra to be killed. She had all vengeance against Indra. And Aditi was asking for her quota only. She had no vengeance, no harm to the enemy. Whereas Diti, she was not accepting the blame. See, after all, it was her mistake that she wanted to have union with her husband at a wrong time. Eventually, she begot two demons. So that was her mistake, but she was not willing to accept that mistake. Rather, she wanted to kill the enemy. She was scheming and manipulating, determination from lower modes. She was completely in the mode of ignorance. Right? So how she was scheming or manipulating? Because she was actually serving her husband nicely in a pleasing way, so that her husband would listen to her instruction. Then Kashyapa Muni asked, "What do you want?" Diti further said, "You please give me a boon so that I get a child who will kill Indra." So it was completely against principle of a Vaishnava, demonic mentality. So the lesson for us is that people, they say that attack is the best defense. But we find from Bhagavad Gita that it is a demonic mindset. Harming others in the garb of self-defense is not okay. We are finding so many wars happening in the world presently, isn't it? I hope you all are aware to the current affairs.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji.
People go and kill innocent people in the name of self-defense. And there are many countries who are supporting such action also. But this is not according to the principle of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna, our God, does not want us to indulge in such demonic activities. He wants all of us to live peacefully, engaging in serving Supreme Lord Krishna, and finally end up this life and go back to his place. That is what Krishna wants from us. He does not want such petty fights and grabbing of others' land, things like that. That is not what Krishna wants. These are demonic qualities. And further, when both of these sisters, they approached their husband, interesting fact is that Kashyapa Muni gave different instructions to each one of them. To Aditi, he suggested her to perform a vrata called Payovrata. So what is that Payovrata? Payovrata was supposed to be performed for 10 days. And in those 10 days, Aditi was supposed to only drink milk and water. And she was asked to worship Supreme Personality of Lord Vishnu. She was asked to perform devotional service, bhakti to Vishnu. And what was the recommendation for Diti? Diti was asked by Kashyapa Muni to perform Pumsaman Vrata, to beget a child. And this Vrata had to be performed for 1 year. So for 1 year, Kashyapa Muni asked Diti to maintain cleanliness, to wash her hands when she eats, to always take bath 3 times a day, to sleep on the floor, to remain truthful, to remain always clean externally, and also worship Lord, Supreme Lord Vishnu. So this was the recommendation for Diti. So what is the difference in both the recommendations to Aditi and Diti?
Vrita was short and pure, And
Yeah.
that one was a punishment too long.
Yeah.
And she had to worship Vishnu. She had to pray to Vishnu.
Yeah. And in the first case for Aditi, she was asked to perform only devotional service, bhakti. Whereas, because Aditi was an elevated soul, she was a devotee already. Whereas for Diti, who had demonic character, she was asked to maintain all external cleanliness. And Kashyapa Muni said, in case if you break any of these principles during 1 year, you will get a child, but that child will become very friendly to Indra. That was also the caveat which Kashyapa Muni said, mentioned. So, one of you can read this on Payovrata.
My dear Aditi, engage in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the master of everything, who can subdue everyone's enemies, and who sits within everyone's heart. Only that Supreme Person, Krishna or Vasudeva, can bestow all auspicious benedictions upon everyone, for he is the spiritual master of the universe. Hare
Right.
Krishna.
So, this is to Aditi. Because she was a devotee, her husband asked her to perform bhakti. And different prescription for different diseases. Right? So, one thing which we need to understand is that God is one. Then why we find so many religions? Why there is Christianity? Why there is Islam? Why there is... In Hinduism itself, we have different sects. We have people who worship all the devatas. We have people who worship only Supreme Lord Krishna. Why there is difference? Because people are at different levels. For someone who indiscriminately kills everyone, can I go and tell them to worship Krishna? Is that possible?
No.
He may not be able to observe that instruction, isn't it? So that's why Jesus Christ came and then he said, thou shalt not kill. Please don't involve in sinful activity. Don't kill anyone. That was the instruction by Jesus. And when Prophet Muhammad, he came to this world, at that time, the people were living in such an abominable state, they did not differentiate between their own mother and sister and wife, which means they were indiscriminately indulging in sexual activities. So Prophet Muhammad said, no, stop all that. Women should be protected. You are not supposed to exhibit your external features. So put a niqab, burqa, right? So this was given by Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad. Do you think if Prophet Muhammad went on to say, worship Krishna, perform devotional service, people would have accepted that?
No. No, Prabhuji.
Obviously not. Right? So, Kashyapa Muni also, we can clearly see how he was discriminating or observing the difference in behavior of both the people, Diti and Aditi. Accordingly, he gave instructions. So, and how was Lord responding? To Aditi, Lord was born to her. He took his own avatar as Vamana Deva, born to Aditi. So what a blessing that Aditi got because of performing devotional service according to her husband's instruction. She only did for 10 days, but she begot Supreme Lord Vamana Deva as her own son. And we all know that pastime, right? So he went and subdued Maharaj Bali and he took all the kingdom and also returned the kingdom back to Indra. So that is what happened in the case of Aditi. In the case of Diti, Diti was not able to perform that austerity for 1 year. In between, she forgot, she ate something and she did not wash her hands. So what happened? She begot 49 Maruts who actually became very friendly to Lord Indra. Right? So that was the outcome of Diti's vrata. So the results are based on the process. If you want Krishna, we should not settle for anything less than devotional service. You perform bhakti, only bhakti can attract Krishna, nothing else. You may recite the Vedas upside down. You may become a great scholar. You may possess all very good knowledge in Sanskrit. These are all not going to attract Krishna. Krishna is attracted only by our devotion. Right? Bhaktya mam abhajanati yaman yaschasmi tatvatah. Krishna clearly says in Bhagavad Gita, only by bhakti am I attracted, nothing else. So these are the 6 demonic qualities. Pride, arrogance, anger, harshness, ignorance, conceit. So summary, demonic person are those who don't know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Right? In Kali Yuga, if you see, all of us fall into this category, unfortunately. Before we get the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita or knowledge of scriptures, we all were doing this only. We didn't know what is to be done, what not to be done. Right? And we don't follow Shastras. We are self-centered. We are only bothered about our own life. Least bothered about others. Improper behavior. Untruthful. We don't speak the truth all the time. And we are unclean. So I was talking about Diti's example. She was not able to maintain cleanliness. What about us? We also are not clean. We don't like to follow all the rules. Right? So these are summary of demonic nature. So if you see how many divine qualities as against demonic qualities that Krishna explained, any of you recollect? How many divine qualities we saw?
26 divine qualities and
And
about
6
six of demonic qualities.
Okay. So divine qualities are more. Demonic qualities are only 6. But if you introspect, we possessing a demonic quality is very easy. Whereas possessing a divine quality is not so easy for us, at least. Right. So, and the philosophy is that of a demonic quality, there is no God in the picture at all. And the attitude is that they are completely illusioned, sense gratification, and they are lusty, they are proud, self-glorification. I am the perfect person. No, people in general, they don't accept their mistakes. They always say that they are right. Even philosophically speaking also, people say that they know everything. Oh, Prabhu, I have been following Krishna. I am a devotee of Krishna. But what does Krishna speak in Bhagavad Gita? Nobody knows. And when we ask people, they give their own interpretation. Krishna spoke this only, Prabhu, in Bhagavad Gita. Whatever happened has happened. Whatever is happening is also good. And whatever is yet to happen is also good. It's all Krishna's arrangement. Where did Krishna speak all this in Bhagavad Gita? They prominently explained that this is Gita Charam. Krishna never spoke anything of that sort in 700 verses.
Probably there are different versions of Gita. They must be reading those.
Yeah. None of that is bona fide, but unfortunately, they think that they are right. Right? So these are demonic qualities.
Yes, that's true.
They don't have any submissive mentality. They don't have the intention to accept that they don't know anything. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he actually exhibits all these qualities. He was a Supreme Lord, but when he approached his spiritual master, Guru, Ishwarapuri, he went and told, obviously he was Supreme Lord, he was a great Pandit, he knew everything, but still he went and approached his spiritual master saying, please give me your mercy, I am a fool number 1. I don't know anything. I am not good at scriptures. I am not a Pandit. I don't know Vedanta. But I am a simple fool. You please teach me what I have to do. That is the submissive mentality exhibited by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What to speak of us? With our limited knowledge, we showcase as though we know everything. So, these are the demonic qualities. And our engagements are unbeneficial, destructive, illegal. So these are all some of the characteristics of demonic people. So, often we say that I am the controller and enjoyer, I am perfect, I am the lord of everything. So, in materially speaking, these are good qualities. When somebody says that I can do anything, this is considered as a good character. But according to Krishna's instruction, the moment you consider yourself as a servant of the servant of Lord Sri Krishna, that is considered as a perfect quality. You cannot think that you are the boss. That is a demonic quality. Right? So, the first step towards curing our disease is diagnosis. So, we need to diagnose ourselves. What are the qualities that I am possessing? Am I having any of the divine qualities, or am I filled with demonic qualities? And take the help of Krishna, the spiritual master, and Vaishnavas, the devotees of the Lord, to uproot all the demonic qualities. We don't want to have those demonic qualities. With those demonic qualities, we cannot go back to Krishna. Right? So that's why in the beginning of the session I mentioned, how can someone possess all the divine qualities? By associating with devotees who actually possess those divine qualities. That is the simplest technique. Because the qualities, when we move along with the devotees, it rub against us. Right? So we also start developing those nice qualities. As many of you can actually experience when you start chanting, when you start associating with Prabhupada's books, you also become nice. You know, how many of you have felt that your anger has come down after chanting or after reading Bhagavad Gita? How many of you have felt?
Myself, Guruji.
Myself, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So I mean, nobody can come and it's not something that I can bolster and do a self-publication. No, others will come and tell. People who are moving along with you, right? Your own family members, they will notice the difference. As soon as you start chanting, oh, this person, he was horrible to move with, but now he or she has become a nice devotee. And all his bad qualities are going away. I am able to see the difference. So like that, your family members will be able to spot. Right? So this is all possible by associating more and more with Krishna and his devotees. And in the last section, the section before that, Krishna is actually speaking about, he's going to come to a conclusion of this chapter. How he is going to conclude? By saying, there are 3 gates leading to hell. What are the 3 gates? Kama, Krodhas, Tata, Lobhas. Lust, anger, and greed. So these are the bad qualities, the topmost demonic qualities, which every sane man should give up. Because this is going to degrade the soul. We are going to become more and more animalistic. Having got nice human body, we should not degrade ourselves to animal body. Right? So these are the 3 gates to hell. So we need to contemplate on this. Lust doesn't mean only lust to opposite sex. Lust in general means any desire. I have a desire to enjoy my eyes by watching a movie. That is also a lusty desire. I want to accumulate millions of dollars. So that's a lust. Right? When the lust is not satisfied, it leads to anger. And when the lust is satisfied, it leads to greed. I don't get satisfied with a small Maruti car. I want a Mercedes-Benz car. So that is greed. Right? So these are the three gates which is going to lead us royally to hell. So we need to take a call whether we want to get binded by the three modes, associating with people who are in the three modes, Sattva, Rajo, and Tamoguna, and develop these three bad qualities, which is going to lead us to hell. We have to take that decision. So, if you can perform self-realization, which means perform bhakti, follow the scripture, then we can actually escape these three gates and finally attain supreme destination, Vaikuntha. In the contrast, if I reject the scriptures, I don't follow Bhagavad Gita, I act whimsically, then my life is going to be miserable and I am going to degrade. So this is what is the choice in front of us. So Krishna says one should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by regulation of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may be gradually elevated. So we should know what are the divine quality, what are the demonic quality, what are the rules and regulations, and we should gradually elevate ourselves from this stage. Right now we are in the 0th stage of bhakti. From 0th stage, we need to reach 100% stage. It's a big leap, but we need to take small steps towards attaining that. So we need to draw our own Lakshman Rekha. Where am I standing? I should not cross the limit. I should not cross the boundary set by the Vedic injunctions. I need to work within the boundary. Even if I have to perform sense gratification, I should not indulge in sense gratification outside of the Vedic injunction. Follow all the rules and regulations, perform bhakti. That is the bottommost thing. Right? So when we are able to do that, develop all the divine qualities, get away from the demonic qualities. More importantly, start developing the taste towards serving Krishna. There are only two principles which Prabhupada always says, which are basis of Krishna consciousness. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Always remember Krishna means always perform your activities which will make you remember Krishna. Like, for example, chanting his name, offering bhoga to Krishna, reading about Krishna, hearing about Krishna. So all these are things which are going to make us remember Krishna. And don't forget Krishna, which means don't indulge in activities which will make you forget Krishna. Like, for example, at 3 o'clock on a Sunday, if I attend this class, then I am going to remember Krishna. Rather, if I go along with my friend to a Bollywood movie, then I am going to definitely forget Krishna. Right? So don't perform that activity which will make us forget Krishna. So these are the two basic principles which we should always keep in mind and try to follow. Then our progress in Krishna Bhakti is guaranteed. Right. So with that, I will come to this end of the session. The divine and demonic qualities I tried to explain. With want of time, I'm not able to explain all the qualities in detail. But you can please go through Bhagavad Gita purports of Srila Prabhupada. You will understand it quite nicely. So I am happy to take any questions. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have two questions to ask you.
Yeah.
One is bhakti includes chanting, serving the Lord, deity worship, going to a temple, everything. Reading Prabhupada's books, attending satsang, associating with devotees, all that it comes in bhakti.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Okay. Then number 2, if somebody leaves a body within the family, which chapter of Bhagavad Gita should he read?
Any chapter of Bhagavad Gita, any sloka is good, but you can read specifically
Any,
the
any particular
second chapter, third chapter, and eighth chapter. So these are
second,
the
second, third,
chapters,
and
eighth,
okay.
because eighth chapter in specific talks about leaving the body, what an individual soul attains at the time of death. So, and second chapter also speaks about the difference between soul and body. So these two chapters are more important.
Okay. Also, one request, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law, she left her body today. She was 102.
Oh, okay.
So can we just pray for her? Just one round of Hare Krishna.
Hare
One
Krishna,
rounds.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Hare.
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare.
So we will all pray
Thank you,
for
everybody.
the departed soul. You are in that place, Mataji, where she left her
No,
body?
no, I'm away. I'm away. I'm away from the place.
Okay, okay. So, in case if you plan to go there for the funeral or something, you can recite these chapters, or even otherwise, sitting somewhere else, also you can recite these 3 chapters, and you
Yes,
can
Prabhuji.
ask the benefit for the departed soul.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Any other questions from anybody else?
Prabhuji, so we are not. So although the body is there, passed away somewhere else. So we also should not pray. We should not keep the mandir open.
So, yeah. So since you are, I mean, it's she's your own mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Right. So you have a blood relation, and
Yes.
you are supposed to keep some distance away from your home altar. You are not supposed to go near for certain duration. It varies according to your practices. So for some
Yeah.
people, it's 3 days, others 10 days, 13 days, whatever.
Yeah. So we should not offer food also, not to deities, but the mandir is closed.
Yeah.
Because some time back there was an argument. It was just a general argument.
Mm-hmm.
Then those devotees said, "How can you keep the deities starved? You can get somebody has to prepare and give."
Yeah. So
So it's
usually
discontinuous.
what we do is in the Vaishnava circle, we give the deities to other Vaishnavas who are not related to us in family, right? So any other Vaishnava. So they can take care of the deities and we can be away.
Yeah, but supposing the distance is quite far, Prabhuji, then what do we do?
What is very far?
The distance, to reach those devotees is quite far because the place we are staying is quite far from, most
Do
of the
you have
devotees are staying
do you
some
have
other
deities,
place.
by the way?
I have Gauranitai.
Gauranitai. Yeah, I mean, you need to practically see. I'm not able to give an answer right now because
I can offer fruit, then I can get my household help
you can
to
you can
offer
also
the
put them
fruits.
you can also put them to Yoga Nidra.
Yeah.
Maybe we can connect offline, Mataji, because it is not entirely related to this
Yeah,
chapter.
but
We can connect offline, but yeah, you can do many things, Mataji. Okay, so any other questions from anybody else? Okay, so I assume there are no questions. So next week will be the last week before we end these sessions. As I mentioned yesterday as well, we are going to continue to have our Sangha in the form of Bhakti Vriksha classes. I will speak about these classes in our next session because understanding Bhagavad Gita, it takes a lot of time, and especially when we have to practice whatever Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, it requires lot of time and guidance. So I would be happy to extend our satsanga beyond these 18 chapters as well. So I'll speak about more those classes in the upcoming session. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Nice class.
Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Okay, Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.